Many parents believe that in order to be a good parent, you have to be a strict parent. You know, the Chinese 管教. And strict parenting equals love. So because of this, the physical punishment is part of that strict parenting.
Hi, I'm JK.
And I'm Jade Rastif. Welcome to the Situation Report,
where we keep you informed one situation at a time. Today it's about physical punishment for children. Smacking, caning.
Yeah, they say spare the rod, spoil the child.
That's a famous saying, and I'm not sure if parents nowadays still believe that. However, while researching this, we found out that up to 96% of children in Singapore actually experience physical discipline.
Really?
Do you?
That's very shocking because I don't know anyone who would beat their kids.
Okay.
So who are these child beat? Do you beat your kids?
I'm going to unveil and reveal all in just a while, but we need an expert on this topic. Not on beating children, but expert on, everything about the psychological, all the behind the scenes information. A counseling psychologist and senior lecturer in the Psychology and Child and Human Development Academic Group at the National Institute of Education, Dr Kit Phey Ling. Welcome down to the show.
Hello, thank you for bringing me here.
A lot of questions that we have.
Okay.
First and foremost, I think she asked me a question, do I hit my children?
Do you hit your children?
I asked my wife to do it. I am the fun parent.
So would you be in the 96%?
No,
or are you in the 4?
I'm in the 4, my wife is in the 96. Which kind of leads to the first question, which is, there's a lot of research indicating that corporal punishment can be detrimental to mental health of the child. What do you make of these findings?
Well, there is a lot of research worldwide that shows that corporal punishment is detrimental. One of the latest research that's come out is that it affects the way that children actually view themselves, particularly the mistakes that they make, versus perhaps the rewards that they receive. So if they're very primed towards looking out for their own mistakes, it really affects their self-esteem, it affects their confidence level, they may be at risk for anxiety and depression.
So what is the most common type of corporal punishment in Singapore?
Well, according to Dr. Sudo and team's study, it would be spanking. That is the most frequently used.
That's the bum, right?
Yeah, they didn't
anywhere.
specify spanking where.
So no matter where, it's not a hand, backside, whatever, it's called spanking, okay?
Yeah, so it's spanking, and then competing for second and third places really would be slapping. Slapping is most frequently found in the 6-year-olds because they did a longitudinal study. So the 6-year-olds were second most likely to have been slapped.
Because this is when they talk back.
Yeah.
I think.
And then the other one is hitting with an object, but they didn't specify what object was being used.
Most likely cane.
Yeah.
Hanger.
A hanger?
Yeah.
I've never hit with a hanger before.
I feel like so much of our generation has been hit. But the ways are so creative and so different.
Okay, I was only caned only by my mother. My father never come near me. So and my mom will always cry after caning me. It hurts me more than it hurts you. All the cliche,
But I believe her.
drama, and say, for your own good.
Your mom's so sweet.
But did your mom cry when after she hit you? Or?
No, not a tear. She was a corporate lawyer, so she just stone face, like why 3 upon 10 for Ting Xie? And I'm like, sorry, sorry.
Actually, I don't get caned for bad grades. So I got caned because I conned my tuition teacher to not give me tuition.
That's very
and
smart.
we play pot games instead.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I got hit for that.
Oh no.
So our generation got hit. So where do you draw the line between physical punishment and abuse?
When we talk about abuse, we are really talking about unrestrained hitting or using an object against a child to a point where the child is actually physically injured. So you can actually see the marks of the injury on this child. Or sometimes there will also be, beyond physical injury, it could even be death.
When I say my wife hits, like mostly smack in the hand or just hit the backside one time. The cane, I don't think it's actually hit them, it's just where's the kid? And take it, and they'll start behaving already.
But I feel like I can't really say that I'm not against hitting the kids. I mean, I might turn to corporal punishment. I'm not against it. It's just that the way that my son is, I just don't have to. But I might have a kid that's like super defiant.
Something happened yesterday in the car, you know. And then all she just said, because so my daughter refused to wear a seatbelt because now she's reached the age where she can unbuckle herself.
Oh no!
And so my wife said, "I will not hug you if you don't wear a seatbelt." And my daughter wanted to hug her, and no. Is that psychological discipline? Because my wife said, "No hugging, no, until you wear a seatbelt." Yeah.
It depends on how your daughter interprets it as well. And what do you mean by a hug? What does that hug mean?
Like a physical hug.
If the physical hug means is equivalent to love, then yes, it's psychological punishment. If the physical hug is just something that the child wants, then it's not really psychological.
You can just explain to her it's like dangerous, and you know what happens if the car stops. And
we tried doing that, but she just starts screaming. So I want to ask you, you're deemed an expert, you know, in here. How do you discipline your children? Do you do physical, psychological, non-physical?
Well, for most part, I talk to the child first. I talk to my son first, try to find out what's going on, and then from there, just try to reason with him. I also use choices. I usually give my child 3 choices, and each choice comes with a consequence.
Ooh.
And of which only one choice is really the choice that has the desired behavior and consequence that he would like to have. Right.
Is it like an illusion of choice, or?
No, it's actually real choices.
Give us an example if you can.
All right, so you don't want to do your homework right now, right? So if that's the case, then you have 3 choices. One is don't do homework, then cannot watch TV. Yeah. You do part of your homework, then maybe I'll let you watch TV for maybe 10 minutes. If you finish your homework, then you can watch the whole show. So it's 3 choices, not 2. Because if you give 2 choices, what you have is an ultimatum. And that's not a choice, right? It's either you do or you don't. Yeah, it's the illusion of choice. So you actually have to have at least 3 choices. And sometimes what helps is to put it down in writing. Just write out the choice. If the child can read, or in pictures if the child cannot, and then give the child time to think about it.
See, I tried this with my son.
That's a great idea, 3 choices.
Yeah, so I tried that, and then my wife always say, "You're too soft on him. You're spoiling him." I mean,
that's his work.
I need to show this episode to my wife, okay? This is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us about research? What does research say about emotional damage caused in children? Emotional damage, my son always says that. Does your son say that?
No, because he doesn't watch the iPad.
Actually, there isn't research that compares the degree of damage done. And the reason for this is because physical punishment almost never comes without the verbal punishment, right? I mean, you don't exactly go and whack your child without saying why you're angry with the child, scolding the child, isn't it? So that's why it's almost impossible to separate the two and make a comparison.
But there lies my question, right? Like when I say my wife hits like mostly smack on the hand or just hit the backside one time, the cane, I don't think it's actually hit them, it's just where's the cane and take it and they'll start behaving already. So that's considered an empty threat, right? So does it instill a constant fear in the child that they may be caned?
If the child has a very secure relationship, if the child understands why the threat or that kind of punishment is being meted out, I don't think that there will be very long-lasting damage. Yeah, but of course, if the child doesn't understand, or if this kind of threats are given, right? And sometimes you carry it out, sometimes you don't. And this whole thing is very unpredictable, inconsistent. Yes, then the child might be very fearful.
Now we're gonna turn this on the other side. Have you seen parents, during your practice, who feel like remorse after they do it?
Yes, usually by the time the parents, parents come for counseling, for therapy, because they feel bad about what they've done. They feel bad about hitting their children because they have heard about how it is wrong to hit. Maybe they've read about how it's wrong to hit, or people have told them about it. And yet, for them, it's also hard not to fall back on the kinds of disciplinary actions that they have been exposed to, that they received, right? Yeah, because when we are stressed, when we are tired, we are less in control of our emotions, right? And we naturally fall back on what we know, because it does require a conscious effort not to do what we are familiar with and to take a step back and reflect. Right.
That's very interesting that you brought that up, because actually my mom recently, when I turned 30, she wrote me a long letter apologizing for hitting me.
Wow.
Yeah, and apparently she went to my sisters as well, and she apologized to them individually and said, I'm sorry for my failings as a mom. And we were like, failings as a mom, you did great. Like, we're all doing great.
What made her write the letter? Was it?
I think it was what she said, like that guilt. Then they realize, they hear this term generational trauma, and how they observe how it might be passed on to the next generation. So, she was hit by her dad badly, like take off your specs, put it on the table. Because, there was one time that he hit her so bad her glasses went flying across the table.
So
after that, your glasses are more valuable to me than your physical safety, whack. Kind of, that was the undertone there. So then that generational trauma continues, and when you have kids, you're like, this is how you discipline kids.
Every country has different cultural norms, right? And these cultural norms kind of shape how we parent our children. And of course, every family has its own cultural norms as well. Here, many parents believe that in order to be a good parent, you have to be a strict parent. The Chinese 管教, right? So strict parenting equals love. So because of this, the physical punishment is part of that strict parenting. So the meaning that people ascribe to the physical punishment is different.
So our final question, which is the big one, because a lot of people approach you for this, that is of course advice that you will give to parents on the topic of child discipline, based on your professional experience and your personal experience as a mother.
Beating your child isn't going to help stop the tantrum. So just walk away from the situation. If there's another adult around, ask the adult to just watch your child, and then calm down first. Have a sip of tea, let the child vent. And once your child is calm, and once you are calm, then go and talk to your child. Don't start by scolding your child. Start by finding out why the child is feeling, why the child behaved the way that he or she did, right? So once a child has had a chance to hear you out, to be heard rather, then he will have the space to hear your perspective. And then as a parent, what you can do is also to train your child to take the other person's perspective, because children very often they can't do that. They can't do the perspective taking part until they're about between 8 to 10 years old, depending on how fast they develop. But you can help speed up that process by asking simple questions like, how do you think I felt, or how do you think this person felt when you did that?
What I heard was ask my wife to deal with it. That's what I heard. Yep, correct. It's correct, right? Because if I'm stressed, the other adult is my wife, so my wife can deal with that.
And vice versa.
So that's all the time we have for the show today. I would like to thank Dr. Kit Phey Ling, counselling psychologist and senior lecturer in the Psychology and Child and Human Development Academic Group at the National Institute of Education. All the experiences, the expert views, all the tips. One of the, I would say, most engaging topics that we've had so far. For us,
and the childless people are watching this. Okay.
So much
for the
work.
future.
So much work to be a parent.
And that wraps up today's episode of The Situation Report,
where we keep you informed, one situation at a time. My name is JK.
And I'm Jade Rasif. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.